Hey everyone, Golden Ninja 3000 here again. Today I'm super excited to be back with a new LEGO Marvel Superheroes related video. This is a collection of all of the August 2023 LEGO Marvel sets. I love LEGO Marvel, as you guys know, and I don't really want to do individual reviews as much because I find them to be too time consuming, especially considering that my reviews don't usually get too many views. So I do want to make more collection videos like this where I can just give my brief thoughts on some of these sets. Before we get into it, I do want to remind you guys that I am a LEGO employee now, but all opinions in these videos are my own and don't necessarily reflect the opinions of the LEGO Group, and LEGO is a registered trademark of the LEGO Group of companies, which does not sponsor, authorize, or endorse this site. I also wanted to tell you guys that this is the first video I'm filming with my camera and new microphone, so I'm hoping that you can see a noticeable quality increase in the audio and the video. And I'm super excited that I finally have this stuff set up, because I bought this mic a year ago and I bought this camera almost a year ago, last December, so it's been quite a road getting to this point. So I did get every single set that released in August 2023. I have Captain America's shield, I have the Amazing Spider-Man, that big art piece, which is actually really cool. A lot of these sets are really cool, but I think I'm gonna have a surprising favorite that I don't think many people are gonna agree with. But let me see if I can zoom with this camera. I also got some action figures, so I got the new Captain America, and I got Wolverine, who's in the corner over there. And I guess you can see pretty clearly that I have two of the Venomized Groot sets. I wanted one to be fully Venomized, and then I wanted one to be the regular half Venomized version. Unfortunately, I do not have my regular Baby Groot set with me, so I can't do a comparison video until I go home, but I will be doing a comparison video because I really love these sets. I also got the smaller play sets, so down here in the corner we have the Captain America and Black Widow motorcycles, and then we also have the 4+ Iron Man Hulkbuster versus Thanos, and then of course I do have the Spider-Man No Way Home Statue of Liberty Final Battle set. That's not the official name. And then I also have the Endgame Final Battle set, which I'll have to zoom out a little bit on, and those guys will be getting separate videos. They won't be getting reviews, but I do want to upgrade the displays for both of them. For the No Way Home Final Battle, I did buy some upgraded custom printed elements from Firestar Toys. And then for the Endgame Final Battle, I had created my own version of this scene, like just with custom parts, like back in 2019. I recently posted a picture of it on my Instagram, but I'm ready to take all of those minifigures and throw them into this scene. And of course, I'm going to go up close on each of these sets individually in just a second. But the last one, can't forget it, is Wolverine's Adamantium claws in the corner back there. But we're going to start with the small sets first. So, Captain America and Black Widow motorcycles. Can you focus, please? Okay, there we go. Again, this is my first time using this camera for a video, so it's a little bit touch and go. But I really, really like this set because it's two motorcycles for... what was the price of the set? Like $15, $16? That's pretty fantastic. This is a great Black Widow minifigure. I do wish she had printed arms because Black Widow has been getting printed arms in a lot of sets, but the torso and leg printing is a huge upgrade over the 2015 version. And Black Widow has kind of become one of my favorite Marvel characters. I really loved her in Avengers Endgame, and I'm a staunch defender of the Black Widow movie. I think that that is one of Marvel's best movies, even though it came out like 3 years too late. So I really like this set. Captain America is a little bit more basic. He gets a lot of motorcycles. Please focus. Please. There we go. He gets a lot of motorcycles, and it's following his shield instead of him. Sorry about that. But yeah, like I said, he gets a lot of motorcycles, but this one is still pretty good. They're very built up, and this set reminds me a lot of the Batman versus Catwoman set for the Batman, and I thought that that was an excellent set, so I'm really happy with it overall, because I think, you know, two good minifigures and two good builds for a cheap price is always nice to see. That's the one thing I don't like about the set. I just wish that the bikes had kickstands because I feel like it's way too easy to make them fall over since they are pretty bulky. Next up, we have the Iron Man Hulkbuster versus Thanos set. I had to get this because, well, I get every LEGO Marvel set, but I also obviously need that exclusive Iron Man minifigure for my Iron Man Hall of Armor, which desperately needs an update video. So I'm going to try to have my redesign finished by the time I go home next so I can finally update everybody, because I always see those videos in like my most watched. But anyway, back to this set. Thanos, love the pieces on his flying chair throne thing. I wish this thing would autofocus when I bring something closer to the lens. Okay, here we go. I guess I need to hold it a little bit further away. But yeah, I love these pieces. I believe they originally came in the Ninjago crystallized sets. We have Flickfire missiles, which I always loved to see because those were really big when I was a kid, like in 2012. And I just don't see them in that many sets nowadays. We also have a disc shooter, which isn't super common. But this version of Thanos, I don't think it's new. I think it's the same as the one from the mech that released in January. It's still a good figure, though, and I do like that he's in a flying throne. I just really hope we get the Thanos copter one day, because I feel like this would have been the perfect set to include it in. But of course, the main star of the show here is the new Hulkbuster, which actually I'm going to leave on the table to make sure it fits into frame. But I actually think it looks pretty good. The dark red color is nice. We've got Iron Man sticking up there, but of course you can enclose him with that dome. And I like the dome a lot. I think it's a great print, great torso print as well. I don't really love these kind of like locked elbow joints. Just a personal preference. I really prefer it when mechs have elbow articulation. But I do think it's really cute how it has big fig style hands. It's just a cute, different way to do mech hands, and I appreciate it because I don't even know if we've ever gotten this piece in dark red before. But yeah, I do think the hips look a little bit strange just because they're kind of wide, but they are very sturdy and you can pose this thing like it's running pretty easily. Please don't fall over. But yeah, I don't know. It seems like a fun toy. And again, I'm impressed that it can kind of stay up articulated like that. And it can rotate at the waist as well. And of course, like I said, we have an exclusive Iron Man minifigure, which is a classic style Iron Man with the gold arms and the gold legs. And I really like this version because, again, it's classic comic book style, but it's not like the MCU, because the Mark 85 is classic inspired, but it's still very much MCU designed. But yeah, I just think that this is a great exclusive figure, and I really love it. Next up, we've got the Captain America and Wolverine buildable construction figures. We're going to start with Cap. I think he looks pretty good. We do have this new face mold, which is different from the Iron Man and Spider-Man ones, because it does have... No, stop focusing on Wolverine. Focus on Captain America. There we go. It does have a molded nose, which is kind of funny, but I think it does look pretty decent. Like, I think these heads look better than, like, the Spider-Man heads, which just seemed a little bit too artificial to me. Really love the shoulder pads. I honestly really like the brick-built detail for this suit, and that print is excellent. And, of course, just standard articulation on these things. I don't love the fingers. Speaking of artificiality, they also seem like just a little bit too mechanical to me and not exactly natural. And of course, he only has 3 fingers as opposed to like 4 and a thumb. But I mean, that's not the biggest deal. Overall, these things are pretty awesome because, like I said, lots of articulation, can rotate at the waist. I just really like Lego action figures in general, and I'm not even a child that's trying to play with these, so I'm sure kids like them even more. The one thing I don't like is the shield. First of all, mine is chipped, as you can see up there. Don't love that. Like, it came out of the bag and then like that part of the paint just like peeled straight off. But the other thing that's super confusing is that this is not Steve Rogers' shield. This is Sam Wilson's shield. The shield design changed when Sam Wilson became Captain America in the MCU, and this is his design, like with those little triangles and the stars and the little notches on this like kind of circle in the middle of the white, or this line in the middle of the white circle, I mean. So I don't really think that that is... I mean, I don't think that that's a great inclusion because it's not accurate to Steve Rogers, and it's just a little bit confusing to me because Steve Rogers' shield, it's like very well known to be different. Like, it doesn't have those extra lines in it. It's just like plainer. So I'm a little bit confused about why he has the wrong shield. That's a huge nitpick, though. Like, there's nothing wrong with this set. Just as a diehard MCU fan, I think it's a little bit weird that he has the second Captain America's shield. Wolverine is kind of the elephant in the room. I think he looks a little bit weird, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I just don't think this style works the best for organic characters anyway, like human characters. I feel like you need to be wearing a helmet or like a full bodysuit or something, because I think his arms look a little bit weird, like with the bare flesh, especially like at the joint, because the shoulder pads don't fully cover it. His claws are also gigantic, which is fine. It's cool for play. Again, if I was a kid, I would love like having him slash up Captain America. But his head is definitely the weirdest thing. I think the brick built design is awesome. Like, his mask has been really well realized. Like, the way that this build just kind of goes around that existing head design is really clever, and it looks like Wolverine, but it also makes him look like a hunchback because his head is put on like at a 90-degree angle. So it sticks super far out over his body, and I don't really understand why it's so different in design from all of the other heads, because it makes it look really, really strange. So I don't love that, but everything else about this thing is perfect. I really like these brick-built, like, kind of spike details on the legs. Stop tracking his face. Please focus on what I'm showing. There we go. I'm really going to have to learn how to focus this thing better once I start like actually doing videos all the time, because I can't be having these problems constantly. But yeah, I mean, it's still a cool figure. I just think the head design is a little bit strange, so I'm going to modify that as soon as I like get home and have more pieces available to me. Next up, we have Venomized Groot, and like I said, I did buy 2 of these sets because I wanted the half Venomized and then the fully Venomized versions. And this is my favorite LEGO Marvel set. Maybe not of the year, because the Quinjet in January was really good, but this is definitely my favorite Marvel set of August. And I know that that might be sacrilege with the No Way Home set behind me, but I just freaking love this thing. Maybe it's tied with the No Way Home set. But I didn't love the Baby Groot last year because I thought that the articulation was kind of weak, and especially in the head, it just kind of like flopped around. I don't have any of those complaints with this version, which is kind of amazing because I think it's pretty much the same design. Again, I don't have the original Baby Groot here with me right now to compare it, but it looks the same. And I mean, but this version is just better to me. In terms of articulation, it seems stronger. I also think it's much more detailed with all the Venomized designs. Like, I love these little Venom spores coming out of the ends. I also think that the Venom version is cuter than the regular Baby Groot. Like, to me, the scariest part about this thing is the regular Baby Groot eye, but I think the Venom eyes are super adorable. So I'm really happy with this thing. Like, I think it's the cutest thing on earth. Like, these are my 2 babies. I love them so much, and all of my friends think I'm insane, and they all think that they're horrifying and ugly, but I think that they're just so cute. That's why I wanted to get 2 of them, because I want to put them with my other Baby Groot, and then I want them to be a little family, you know, like 3 brothers. And you have the regular Baby Groot transitioning into Venomized and then fully Venomized. So yeah, I just really love this set. I'm not going to show you guys all the articulation because, I mean, if you've built a Lego mech, you know what to expect. You have ankle articulation, you have, please focus, you have like waist articulation, you've got the thighs, you have the hands. I love the way the hands are built on the Venomized side with these big claws. Again, if it will focus. Sorry, I'm having so much trouble with this, but you get the gist of it. If it doesn't focus, you can see it online. But yeah, I really, really love this entire Groot design, and like, these 2 are just so freaking cute. I can't wait to put them on display together. And I highly recommend getting this set because, like, when I first heard about the Venomized Groot set, I was a little bit confused, especially because, as far as I know, this isn't something that's ever happened. Like, this definitely hasn't happened in the MCU, even though it's based on MCU Baby Groot. But I don't know, like, for kind of an original idea, I think that this is like some of the cutest merchandise that's ever come out. And from Lego, like, an idea that I didn't really like on paper, but then executing it so beautifully and being able to build a fully Venomized version out of the same set because the designer just provided a whole bag of extra pieces. That's the kind of stuff I love seeing from Lego sets. So this one really blew me away and exceeded my expectations. Now we'll talk about No Way Home. I know that this is everyone's like most anticipated set of the year for Marvel, and I do think it's been executed very well. The Statue of Liberty head being the same design as the Welcome to Apocalypseburg head is amazing. I love that kind of consistency. Apocalypseburg is at home, but again, once I get home and take this set with me, which might not be for several months, like I definitely want to do a little comparison on them. Tons of minifigures in this set, which is just perfect. It really, really makes a nice display piece, and I love this kind of rounded black display base. I also love this feature at the back where you have the Sanctum Sanctorum, like a portal to it. I think that that's a really nice inclusion. And I just think that this is a great set overall. The scaffolding, I figured it would be a little bit annoying to build because I really don't like building like fiddly, fragile things. No matter how good they look at the end, I kind of hate building super detailed things with little pieces. I don't know why. I think maybe just because I build so much Lego, like I constantly have a backlog. I'm always building something. I just kind of prefer it when things go together a little bit quicker, which is why I sometimes really love building like 6+ sets because they are very basic, but they're still great sets. But the scaffolding looks amazing. I really, really love it. Again, the building process is like a little bit annoying to me. Like just to me personally, I don't think it's a bad building process. I was missing a piece though over here at the end, like just a 3L bar. So I needed to request a replacement. It's been a while since I had like a purely missing piece in a Lego set, but yeah, like the finished product here is amazing. So even though the scaffolding was a little bit painful to build, the finished product is definitely worth it. I also really love this newer style, like posing bar. Let me see if I can zoom in on that. There we go. Like, yeah, like that curved bar that was recently introduced, like in this set and then the Endgame Final Battle one. It's just amazing. I think it really opens up a lot of opportunities. I have MJ falling there, which I think I executed to the best of my ability, but it still kind of looks like she's holding on to something. But yeah, it actually has a Technic axle pin at the end, which was interesting to me. I kind of would have preferred a stud connection, but it is very versatile, and I'm super excited to have this piece added to, you know, our superhero posing possibilities. We also have great minifigures in this set. We've got Green Goblin, who I think really needed some leg printing, but the torso and face print are great. Regular Tom Holland Spider-Man with the integrated suit. And then we have Tobey Maguire up there. Maybe I need to zoom in on him a little bit more. Please don't focus on the shield. Focus on him. Okay, he's a little bit hard to see, but I like the way I've posed this thing up. But I really, really like both of the new Spider-Man figures. I don't think that's going to focus, so I'm sorry. But I also have Andrew Garfield Spider-Man over here, who is focusing a little bit better. There we go. Both of them look great, and they have dual molded legs, which I think is definitely really important. And then we have Electro, who I think is by far the best minifigure in the set, just because of that crazy back attachment he has going on with those new Ninjago bolts. Like, Electro looks amazing. Electro is not one of my favorite Marvel villains, but this Lego minifigure of him is one of my favorite Lego Marvel villain minifigures because he just has a lot of presence. That's how I would describe it. He has so much presence on display. It's really, really awesome. A very detailed torso, excellent face printing with that electric mask, and he even has leg printing for his like cargo work shorts or work pants. So super happy with that. I just broke MJ off, but oh well. Andrew Garfield can rescue her later. We have Doc Ock, who I think is also a pretty good figure, but I do think it's confusing that he's not in dark green and he's in dark bluish gray. We have Doctor Strange, who's always nice to get, although this one's also inaccurate because he's wearing his Multiverse of Madness costume, which is not his No Way Home costume. I understand why, though, because I think the Multiverse of Madness costume is currently in production, while the No Way Home costume came in a set from 2021, so I guess it's out of production. And you know what? I'm happy with the designer saving money wherever they can just to include, just to include another minifigure in the set. And speaking of another minifigure in the set, we also have Ned, who looks pretty great. And we do have the magical spell box, which I wish was printed. It has 5 stickers on it, but it does look fantastic. So you really have all of the important details from the movie in here. You also have Sandman's hand. You can see some sand right there in the crown of the Statue of Liberty. And that's a pretty nice inclusion. You can actually just remove that, and there you can see the hand peeking out a little bit. So I'm super happy with that. I do hope we get another No Way Home set, because I would love to get Lizard and Sandman as well. And I also wouldn't mind Aunt May, but of course she dies in the movie, so maybe LEGO doesn't want to make a minifigure of her. But overall, even though we had to wait quite a while for a set like this, I think it was definitely worth it, because it gave us so many new minifigures, so many new characters, and just a great display piece overall. Next up, we have Endgame Final Battle, which is the third, I think, set that's been titled that, after the one with Thanos and the Compound in 2021, and then that battle pack set with Thor and Valkyrie in 2022. But this set is pretty cool. It is a very similar display set to the No Way Home Final Battle, with the same style of black rounded base. But this thing it's much more for display rather than play, because you can really play with the No Way Home set, but this one I feel like is just purely intended to be a big towering display piece, because you just have mountains of rubble all around it. And this honestly looks kind of more like a mock than an official LEGO set, which I feel like LEGO has really been doing a lot recently. There are a lot of new builds that I would say you would have expected them to be a mock rather than an official set. Something like Rivendell, for example. That's the kind of thing I would expect to see on display at a convention rather than sold by LEGO. But I think it's really awesome. Or the Batcave Shadow Box, that's another good one. But I think it's awesome that LEGO is branching out and doing stuff that's so kind of out of the box that they look more like fan creations than official sets. And that's how I feel about this one. It is really cool. We'll go into some of the details in just a second. But, you've got Ant-Man's van with a little Wasp micro figure, or nano figure, sorry. You have this destroyed section of the compound. You can see different places to attach those newer posing pieces, like the one I have Captain Marvel on. This section can actually swing out a little bit, and there's a lot of fun Easter eggs in the entire set. But first I want to go into how you can display figures. So you do have the newer style posing pieces. So I've got Captain Marvel going in at Thanos. This is a new Thanos with the kind of angry expression on his face. And we haven't seen a big fig since Thanos in 2021, I think. So I know that there was a lot of conversation of if big figs just weren't going to exist anymore, but I'm super happy to see him come back, because it's always nice to get a new expression for him, and this is the perfect big fig. Captain Marvel is a repeat, so is Shuri, so is Okoye up there. I really like the way I've posed all these figures, by the way. The only new figure in this set, besides Scarlet Witch, who doesn't have any new prints, is Valkyrie up at the top, and I will take her down in just a second. But yeah, I love that I have Okoye holding Thanos' sword back, with Captain Marvel coming in from one end, and then I have Thanos facing off against Wanda down here, because of course Wanda is my favorite Marvel character. And I am very happy to say that after what was in my opinion a couple of years of lackluster Scarlet Witch minifigures, we finally have the perfect Wanda minifigure, because she finally has a skirt. Okay, now you need to focus on her. Please. There we go. She finally has a skirt. This was my number one complaint with the Scarlet Witch minifigures in 2021 and 2022, because we did get a very similar minifigure in the last Endgame Final Battle set, but she had the wrong hair color and no skirt. So with those two things fixed, to me, this is finally the perfect Scarlet Witch minifigure. I love her magic, love the skirt, love the hair color returning from that Little Mermaid Royal Clamshell set, and I need to get extras of this skirt to put on my WandaVision one, to put on my Multiverse of Madness one. This is what I've been begging for as a Scarlet Witch fan, and I'm so happy that the designer finally perfected Wanda Maximoff. So, and again, because she is my favorite character, that's why she gets the Pride of Place spot fighting Thanos. But you have plenty of room to put more characters. So let me zoom out a tiny bit. But you do have all of these kind of rocky outcropping areas to put more figures. So you could have 6 people going at Thanos, which I really want to set up once I start adding in Nebula, Mantis, and Gamora. And you just have a lot of different places all over the model where you can pose them. Like I said, you can even remove the little clear posing pieces and insert them into different areas. So there's another section right there. But something else that I really like that you can do with this set is if you go around to the back, you can actually just kind of grab them from these window panes right here. and this whole thing will swing out, which completely changes the look of the model. So let me zoom out a little bit more. And so now it kind of goes into a straight line. But before we do that, I guess I shouldn't have zoomed out because I want to talk about some of the Easter eggs. So right here, you have Thor's hammer buried in the rubble, which is a nice reference. You also have the time stone. Kind of weird that you only get one stone, like including the whole Infinity Gauntlet here might have been cool since Captain Marvel was holding it. And then you also have Captain America's shield buried under the rubble. So I think that that's a nice reference to the male heroes, even though none of them are included in this set. So here's what the whole thing looks like in a line. I definitely like the circular display better, but I do appreciate different options because maybe you just have a really shallow but wide shelf, in which case this becomes perfect. Speaking about some of the finer details, I really like the way the brick build A looks. I think that it is a slightly different build from like what we saw on the 2020 Avengers Tower. And I think it looks really awesome, especially the way it's perched up just on top of that kind of girder there. And then as for the Tower of Rubble that Valkyrie is on, she is coming out of one of Doctor Strange's portals, and you can actually spin this whole assembly, so if you are changing the orientation of the model, you don't need to pick up and readjust Valkyrie every time. But speaking of that, you can just pick up her Pegasus from a little foothold right there on a couple of jumper plates, and this Pegasus is brand new. Sorry, I'm going to bring the camera down a little bit. This is a brand new horse because it doesn't have a bridle. It's kind of just a wild horse. There we go. Yeah, it's just a wild horse. There's no bridle on it. That's really interesting to me. I didn't realize that this is the first like wild horse Lego has made. At least I think with the movable leg styles. I didn't see any others. And then, like I said, this is a new Valkyrie minifigure based on her Valkyrie battle armor from Ragnarok and Endgame. The torso print is good, but I think she really needed leg printing. To me, she kind of looks like she's wearing like a pajama, like a one-suit pajama, because she doesn't have any leg or arm printing. But I love the hairpiece, and the face is still great as always. So I just think it could be a tiny bit better. And I do wish there were some other female minifigures in this set, because most of them are repeats and this is a $100 set. Thanos, Valkyrie, and Scarlet Witch are technically the only new minifigures, but as I said, Wanda isn't actually new with any new prints. She just has a new skirt and the proper hair. Thanos just has one new face print. Valkyrie only has one new torso print. So I really would have liked to get an Endgame accurate Gamora, because she would have only needed a new like face print maybe, but only really a new torso print. So I was really hoping for something like that, or a Wasp minifigure, because we still don't have like a good Wasp minifigure, because the one from 2018 was a little bit lackluster. It's nice to get the nano figure of her, but getting a full minifigure would be great because we haven't gotten her in 5 years. Next up, the Marvel hand collection grows with Wolverine's adamantium claws. It is becoming a little bit of a joke at this point because we've gotten a lot of these buildable hands from Marvel. We have the Infinity Gauntlet, the Nano Gauntlet, we have the 2 Black Panther gauntlets from the big Black Panther bust set, and then now we have Wolverine's claws. It is a great hand build, no denying that. Like, this is a fantastic build. I think that this is like the same style that was used for both the Nano Gauntlet and Black Panther, because like the palm looks the same to me. But I do kind of question the point of a set like this. It's a cool display piece, and again, I buy every Marvel set, so I knew I was going to end up getting it. But, I mean, the set is called Wolverine's Adamantium Claws, and they're kind of just made of, like, 50 pieces, and the other, like, 500 pieces go to making a big blue hand. So I know this set won't be for everybody. Again, I think it's cool that LEGO is trying something new, and I joke about the Marvel hand collection, but this is going to look great next to the Black Panther gauntlets and great next to the Infinity Gauntlet and Nano Gauntlet. So I don't really know if any other characters could have something like this made. I guess if you wanted to do like Black Widow's hands with her like Widow's bite gauntlets at the end, you could. But I see why not everyone likes this set. I still think it's cool, and I just like seeing X-Men sets. After so long without X-Men sets, I think it's awesome that we have a buildable construction figure of Wolverine, and we have Wolverine's gauntlets, and we have those 3 new minifigures in the CMF series. It's awesome to see after so long with no X-Men whatsoever. Next up, we have Captain America's Shield, which is the second biggest, or no, it's the biggest set that's come out this summer because it has over 3,000 pieces. This thing looks incredible on display. Like, I'm super happy with this. When I first heard about this set, I was excited for it because this is the kind of thing that's right up my alley. I have no interest in buying a life-size replica of Captain America's shield just because they're kind of expensive, and I prefer to put my budget into stuff like Lego. But when Lego comes out with like a prop replica style Captain America's shield, I love it. And this thing is really cleverly designed with all of the different like use of Lego wedges and angles to create this sphere. Like, yes, it does have some gaps, but that's what you would expect from Lego. And I have to say, I also heard people, like I saw people complaining about studs on the surface of this model. I don't really know what else people expected. It's Lego. Like, I want to see some studs, and I understand that this might be too many studs for people, but to tile this entire thing over would be insane because, first of all, even if the pieces existed, and they kind of don't, because a lot of these wedges, I mean, let me zoom in on some of them, but a lot of these wedges don't have tiles that will neatly fit over them. And then it would also kind of bulk up the entire shield unnecessarily because it would add a whole nother layer of plates to it. So I'm really happy with this studded look, especially because from a distance you can't even really tell that it's studded. And I just think that this is, like I said, a really cool display piece. The way the star is built in the center looks great, but surprisingly it is a little bit wobbly. I wasn't expecting that. It doesn't feel like it's going to pop off, but it is like a really, not fragile, but it kind of feels fragile. Even though it doesn't feel like it's going to fall apart in your hand when you pick it up, I do feel like if I dropped it on the floor, it would shatter into a million pieces. And some Lego sets, you just don't feel like that. Like the Tower of Orthanc from like 2013, I've dropped that thing from a height of like 2 feet and only like one floor has broken off. So this shield does not feel like that, but it is just supposed to be a static display piece, and I think it succeeds at that. You do have a little plaque down here that says Captain America. I don't love that. I think it should say Captain America's Shield because that's the name of the item, just like the Thor's Hammer plaque said Thor's Hammer. I also don't like the minifigure included. It is the Age of Ultron suit, and yet Captain America is holding Mjolnir. It's just not accurate, and again, I'm a Marvel nerd, so I care about stuff like that. But I also think that in a $200 set, I am a defender of exclusive minifigures. I feel like exclusive minifigures should be put into expensive sets just as a cool bonus. And I think that this would have been the perfect place to put Stealth Suit Captain America from the Winter Soldier, or even just do like Age of Ultron Captain America with boots, like with dual molded legs, with leg printing, with arm printing. Something that would have made the minifigure unique, because that's the kind of stuff that I like seeing as a Lego fan in larger sets. And then getting into other nitpicks with the set, while I think, again, it looks fantastic on display, once you spin it around, you can see that there's no place to hold it or anything, which I understand because it is a display piece, right? It's not meant to be held. It's not meant to be wielded. But you could pick up the Thor's Hammer set and kind of like swing it around, and I really love that. So I wish that you would have been able to pick up this shield because it's not quite life-size, but it's big enough to hold, like if a handle was included. But the other thing is that you can't wall mount it, and that was something I was expecting. I mean, we have the Spider-Man art set right here. That can be wall mounted, and that is huge and very heavy. I understand that the shield is a completely different beast, but I really would have liked to see it with wall mounting abilities, because you can even wall mount the gigantic 1989 Batwing from 2020. And to me, this is the kind of Lego set that you should be able to put on a wall instead of just having it on this stand all the time. And I was at a Lego store, and they did have this hung on the wall next to the Spider-Man set. And to me, that just kind of feels like false advertising if it's hung on the wall at a Lego store, but you can't actually hang it on a wall once you buy the product. I just don't like seeing that, because if you can hang it at the Lego store, why can't you hang it at home? So I feel like if you can't hang it at home, it just shouldn't be hung up at the Lego store. So that's just how I feel about it. It's still a really cool display piece. Like I said, this stand is still perfectly serviceable. I just think, for someone like me who has severely limited space, like display space, being able to put this on a wall would have helped save some of that display space for other stuff. And so I just wish it was a possibility. And lastly, we have the amazing Spider-Man wall art set. This thing is freaking insane. I think that it looks really, really cool because it's got this kind of forced perspective style going on. I thought the head looked a little bit weird in images, but actually in person, I think it looks pretty awesome. I love all of the web printing on it, and I really love the eyes as well. I did listen to the whole podcast, including bonus chapters while building it, and I think the designer had some really great insights. And also the head build was just fascinating to me. Like, the way everything went together was not what I was expecting at all. And I did post pictures of it on my Instagram story because it was a really unique building experience, the head in particular. Nothing else was really that surprising to me, but I just didn't expect the head to be so surprising. I really love the background, like the way that you have all of these different tiles creating that like Ben-Day style dot printing process is what they said in the podcast. And you do have 15 spiders, which is awesome. I just think the background like really stands out. I love the way the webs are built using these like flexible Technic pieces with like the handheld webbing pieces wrapped around them. That was a really nice building technique. And again, speaking about things that are unique and seem more like mocks, I think this set falls into that category as well. It's just not the kind of thing you usually see from LEGO. And I, for one, am really enjoying the different art pieces that LEGO's been doing. When LEGO started making just art mosaics, I thought that those were awesome. But branching out and doing like 3D forced perspective stuff is something else entirely. And I'm really enjoying those sets. Starry Night, I know that was an idea set, but that is one of my favorite LEGO sets ever. The Great Wave set is really awesome. This one is really cool. I can't wait to see what comes next and what the LEGO art designers create next that still has like this mosaic style in the background, but where the main picture is just something like completely different and unexpected. I do think that Spider-Man's like lower body kind of falls apart a little bit if you look at it too up close. It really starts to feel flat, like with just that expanse of blue. But when you're looking at this from far away, the forced perspective really works. I just think up close, like up really close is when it kind of starts to get a little bit iffy. Like even now, like for me sitting in my chair, I think the forced perspective is working, but like if I were to zoom in with the camera, then I feel like you can kind of see the lines start to fall apart a tiny bit. But to be fair, I feel like that's how all mosaics look, right? Even LEGO's mosaics look really good from far away, and then up close your eyes can like kind of start to poke holes in the image. But I also really like the printed tile, like the comic book style tile that says The Amazing Spider-Man down there. The hands coming out of the frame are really cool. That one is supposed to be wrapped around the frame. I just splayed out the fingers so that it could kind of steady the frame a little bit. But yeah, like the whole Spider-Man crawling out of a comic panel vibe of this image is something that I think is just really, really cool. So I'm very happy with this set. I will say I do think this and the shield are a tiny bit overpriced because both of these were $200 US, and to me they really feel more like $150 to like $180 sets. It's not the end of the world for sure. I still think that they're pretty good value if you're a Marvel fan and you really want this kind of thing on display in your home. But I did want to mention that because I thought both of these things were 100% worth the money before building them, and after building them, I just wish that they were like a little bit cheaper. But again, that's just kind of a nitpick and just my personal opinion. Well, that about does it for this collection video. Thank you guys so much for watching, because I'm sure this video is going to end up being like a half-hour long by the time I'm done editing it, maybe even longer. But I have a lot to say about these sets because I really do like them. Some of them I like more than I expected, like the shield and Venomized Groot. I cannot sing the praises of Venomized Groot enough, and I'm just really pleased with how they overall turned out, because I definitely thought this wave was a little bit more of a mixed bag before I ended up buying all of these sets. So I'm really excited to see what we have coming from LEGO Marvel for the rest of the year. I am going to be doing a Batman collection video as well, even though those sets are like almost 2 months old at this point. And I am going to have some other videos coming out soon as well. Like I said, I'll do display update videos for both the No Way Home Final Battle and the Endgame Final Battle sets. So comment down below and let me know what you guys think of the LEGO Marvel sets for August 2023. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well, and I'll see you guys with more videos soon. Bye for now.